So this is it. This is our last time together, at the very end of our 30 hours together. It's been wonderful. So I want to close with a review of the things that I'd like you to take away from the semester. So as I wrote in the syllabus, which you may have read, I wanted you to learn in 3 areas: content, skills, and character. So content. The stated purpose of this course was for you to learn discrete mathematics. So that's graph theory, lots of graph theory, voting methods, districting, gerrymandering, and how to write a proof. I hope you learned each of these topics and understand what they're about and how to use them going forward. To the extent that you learned these things, it's because you learned them. It's not because I taught you them, right? You know very well that I didn't teach you any of these things. You learned them. I explained to you on the very first day of class that it was my job to give you opportunities to learn. And I've done that. And you've done that. And you've taken that opportunity and you've learned. I truly believe, as you know, that the only way to learn is to struggle to understand something and then to figure it out. I know that many of you have experienced that struggle in this class. And I want to remind you that the struggle was always the plan. I put the struggle in there on purpose so that every single thing you learned, you had to earn it. And you've earned it. So we've had so many aha moments in this room when one of you said, "Oh, I get it." And that beautiful sound of echoed around the room of someone figuring something out, someone learning. So skills. The main mathematical skill to take away from this course is how to deal with discrete objects, individual objects like votes and people and vertices and edges. I hope that you've learned how to use a graph to represent situations that occur in real life, like streets and committees and friendships, and how to use the graph to solve the problems that arise. I also hope you've taken away some understanding that there are problems that are really hard, like deciding what it means to have a fair voting system, or a fair apportionment of representatives, or a fair districting plan. The other skill I wanted you to learn was talking with other people about math. In your small groups, you had no choice. You had to talk to each other if you wanted to solve the problems, and so you did. You asked each other questions, and you explained things to each other, and those things were hard to do, and you did them, and that's so important. It's hard to ask questions when you feel like you're the only one who doesn't understand or who doesn't agree. And yet, you wanted to make sure your solution was correct, so you had to ask, even though it was uncomfortable or awkward or hard. Something like this. This might have happened. Someone says to you, "Oh yeah, you can calculate the Euler characteristic even for this graph. It always works." And you're not sure, and you say, "Really? Are you sure?" And the other person says, "Yeah, definitely." And everyone agrees except you, and it's so uncomfortable and awkward, and this is the moment where you have to decide, are you going to say something or not? And you say something. You say, "I don't think that's true. Can you explain that?" It seems like a small thing, doesn't it? It's something you've done over and over in this class, but in doing so, you're practicing moral courage. You're practicing being the one who asks questions even though everyone else agrees. Because imagine this situation. Someone says, "We should exclude these people from this thing." And you say, "Really? Are you sure?" And the other person says, "Yeah, definitely." And everyone agrees except you. And it's so uncomfortable and awkward, and this is the moment where you have to decide, are you going to say something or not? And you say something. You say, "I don't think that's true. Can you explain why?" And maybe they're right, and maybe not. But you showed up and you asked the question. So we practice that, and I hope you take that forward into your life. Finally, character. On the first day of class, when we sat around in a circle and told each other stories about our names, maybe you looked around the room and judged people. I know I've done it. You look around the room and you think, "Wow, that person seems really smart," or "Wow, that person is probably going to struggle." It's easy to do. You do it all the time. But today, after the whole semester, you've gotten to know each other pretty well. You've worked with everyone at least once and probably several times. You say hello to each other outside of class. And so you know that every single person in this room has brought something to the table, brought something to the chalkboard. So every single one of you has been up at the board explaining things to your classmates. For each one of you, there were days when you were the one who was confused, and there were days when you were the one who had the solution. So this is a reminder that no matter what someone looks like when you first meet them, every person has value. Every person has something to offer. And when you meet them, you have no idea what it's going to be. Every new person you meet is like a gift, and you don't know what kind of wonderful surprise you'll find inside. In closing, I want to know that your conversations this semester were amazing. I thought I would be so busy dashing back and forth from group to group, but in so many cases, you did it yourselves. You asked the right questions, you got confused in the right places, and you figured things out. So I'm so impressed with the work you've done this semester. Congratulations.